A lot of people ask, what is my state representative? What do they do for me? I consider myself your customer service to Michigan state government. If you have problems, concerns, questions, thoughts on policy, reach out, contact me. You can call, you can text. I hold events in district every month. Would love to have you come out and join us for a community conversation. And I can do my job more effectively when you reach out and talk to me. I know what you need. I know what I can advocate for. So a big part of my position is the opportunity to work with organizations, community resources, and I learn about these amazing things that our community has to offer. And it's only usually when someone picks up the phone and calls and says, I have a problem, that we can help directly connect people with these resources. But events like this mean that I have the opportunity to give you the information, you have the opportunity to interact, ask questions, and then you take it back to your block, to your neighborhood, and when someone has a question, when your neighbor reaches out and says, I'm having a problem, then you have the opportunity to share that information. So if you find information to be helpful, take an extra copy back. Because I'm guessing if you find it helpful, then someone else in the community will find it helpful too. So when they ask that question, you'll have information to pass along to them. I want to thank Warrenwood Tower High School Culinary Arts Program for their wonderful luncheon with Chef Grummins, who is their instructor. Thank you for coming, and thank you for providing this delicious luncheon. As a teacher, my very heart is around making sure our students have opportunities. We're preparing the next generation workforce, and so it's wonderful when our young people get to try out these experiences firsthand to know whether this is the path they want to continue on, or if this wasn't the experience they were hoping for, are they going to try something else? So I've been a huge advocate for the state of Michigan for career and technical education. So our youth, our future, have the opportunity and to be prepared for what comes next. And also, they're going to be wrapping up service by noon, but they're going to be plating some carry-out containers of what's left. So before you leave, please grab a container. It's not all going to fit in my refrigerator. Take it with you, please. If you haven't had a chance to mingle, we're going to have an opportunity to come visit tables. We are so pleased to have so many guests come and participate with us. Like I said, there are some chairs open, there's some chairs available, so don't feel like you have to stand. But I can tell you about what they do, but I am nowhere near as effective as the advocates for the organizations themselves. So they're going to come and they're going to share just a few minutes of what each organization does. If you have a couple questions about more detail, feel free. And then we'll still have time at the end to go mingle and visit tables. Okay, so first up is Pace of Southeast Michigan. I have Maggie, and is there someone else with you, Maggie?
Shauna is out at the table.
Okay, come on up.
All right.
So we have a directional mic, but more, come on in.
Okay.
It's not an amplifying mic, so you got to use your teacher voice.
I love that.
But the good news is if you have family or friends who couldn't be here today, if weather was an obstacle, we are recording it, and so it will be posted on social media. Feel free to share it. This is too good of information for it only to be here and now. So I'll hand it off to you.
All right. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How are y'all doing?
Good.
Enjoying your spaghetti?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, I am here from PACE Southeast Michigan. PACE stands for Program of the All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. So what does that mean? That means that we are a healthcare program and insurance that provides all of the care that older adults need to remain in their homes instead of in nursing homes. We believe that aging in your home is the best possible place to do it. I know that's what I want for my parents. I know that's what I want for my grandparents. And that's what I hope for all of our community members as well, because we think that that's the best possible place for you to be. So we do that by providing all the care that you need, whether it be your doctor, your nurse, social worker, dietitian, physical therapist, occupational therapist. It's all under one roof in one of our 7 centers throughout Southeast Michigan. Our closest one here is in East Point at 10 Mile and Gratiot. So if you live around here, that's probably the center you'd be going to. We provide transportation, so if you live, right across the street, we'll send a bus to come and pick you up, bring you into our center. You'll get a hot meal, breakfast and lunch. You'll have time for socializing. We do activities. If that's not really your thing, maybe you go to our rehab gym. The great thing about our rehab is that it's ongoing. So instead of having, if you fall in the community, maybe you get 6 weeks of physical therapy. Well, that's not really going to get you back to where you need to be. We're going to give you all of that rehab ahead of time to prevent you from falling in the first place. So we want to make sure that you are strong and in your home and living your best possible lives. The other great thing about PACE is that because we are the insurance, if you qualify for us, you don't have to pay for anything. We pay for your hospitalizations, for your doctor's appointments, for your medications. We'll even deliver your medications to your home. So we are really trying to give you everything you need to live out the best years of your life in your home. Any questions? I know I gave you a lot of information real fast there.
You're very efficient.
Thank you. Yes, we got a question back there.
What does PACE stand for again?
PACE stands for Program of All-Inclusive Care for the Elderly. So there's a bunch of PACE programs throughout the country, and we are one of the largest, and we're your Southeast Michigan PACE program. Yes?
Okay, so I'm Hal Noonan. As it happens, I'm running for Warren City Council District 5, and I'm on the Centerline School Board. I'm already on Medicare.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're saying you can help me, can you start helping me already, even though I don't have any particular big need?
That's a great question. So let me get into the qualifying points for PACE. So there's 4 big qualifiers. So you have to be 55 years or older. You have to meet a nursing home level of care, meaning there has to be something that maybe it's hard for you to stand up from a chair without using your arms to push you up. Or maybe you have oxygen, or maybe you need some help making decisions, things like that.
If I break my leg
Yep.
and I need some help to stay in my house, I won't be able to go and do my laundry in my basement,
Yep.
and that would be a good time to call you up.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
So the other ones is that you have to be safe in your home. So that would mean if there was a fire that you would know how to get out. Or basically, there's someone there to support you, or you have a solution, or you'd be able to get out yourself. And then last but not least, you actually have to live in this area. We can't really provide good care for someone that lives in Arizona. We got to have you right here in our arms so that we can take care of you.
So the liaison would help me to figure out all sorts of things that I wouldn't have necessarily considered when I need the help.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yep. Any other questions?
Income
Yes.
requirements too. That's
Any
another
income
part.
requirements?
Yes. So in order for there to be no cost for PACE, you have to qualify for Medicare and Medicaid. And then we have eligibility specialists in-house who are able to help you fill out all those paperwork. I know it's intimidating for me. I can't even imagine going through years and years of paperwork to try to fill out all of that. So we are here to help you with qualifying for Medicare and Medicaid as well.
You have to have both or just one?
To have zero cost, you have to have both.
What if you have Medicare and partial Medicaid?
So then we can look at your specific income levels to figure out exactly if we can help you qualify. Any other questions? All right. Well, thank you all so much for having me. And if you have any more questions, we'll be out with the neon green tablecloth outside.
And this is the time to start planning,
Yes.
right? It's harder when you've been hospitalized. Yes, thank you so much, Maggie. Serving on the Health Policy Committee, this was an eye-opening program. And then when I got to tour one of the facilities right in our local community, it was impressive what was on right on site. And they provide all the transportation. And I think about families where they're being caregivers for a parent or another loved one. And this is a program that definitely helps fill in those gaps for family that has to go work. and wants to make sure their loved one is cared for when they're not at home with them. And so because there are eligibility requirements, these are things that you'll want to plan ahead for. And these are conversations that are great to get the contact information and reach back out and find out where you fit into this program. I went, and the social activities that they have all day are so much fun. They do things seasonally. They bring in guests. I think I was there and they had a DJ with the classics, and they had bingo. They had arts and crafts. And I was like, sign me up. I'm coming. Next up, I have Heather and Katie with the Area Agency on Aging. Here they come. Come on up.
Everyone.
Good morning.
All right, my name is Katie Wendell. I'm the Director of Planning and Advocacy at the Area Agency on Aging 1B, or you might have heard us called the AAA 1B before. We provide services to older adults and family caregivers in a 6-county region, which includes Macomb County here in Southeast Michigan. We are all about connecting older adults and family caregivers with the vast array of resources available in our community to help you remain living independently in your community. We receive federal and state funds, and we disperse those to a lot of community partners. So some programs that we fund are actually provided locally. So one example of a service that you might be familiar with is Meals on Wheels. That's all funded through the Area Agency on Aging 1B. So we provide that program. We have a number of in-home service programs. So if you need assistance with some physical care needs, one program is the My Choice Medicaid Waiver Program. So to be eligible for that program, you need to meet Medicaid income guidelines and also meet that same nursing facility level of care. So you need help living independently. And we can provide those services that you need in your home. So we work with local home care companies to create a care plan for you and get you those services you need to stay independent. We have our most valuable resource, I think, if you remember one thing I'm saying today, is that we have a call center staffed with amazing information referral experts that if you call our 1-800 number, if you take any of our literature outside, they can connect you with whether it's a program that we fund or another program you hear about in the community. That's our specialty, is getting you the information you need to stay at home. We have programs like evidence-based health and wellness classes, so matter of balance falls prevention classes offered in the community, programs to help you manage your diabetes, or programs to help family caregivers. If you're caring for someone who needs a lot of support, that's a heavy burden. So we have a number of programs and services to help you manage that stress, learn new skills to make that caregiving lighten the load a bit, I suppose. We have our Medicare Medicaid Assistance Program, or the MAP program. If you are turning 65 or during open enrollment, if you are trying to select your plans, those of you who've done that know it can be a really overwhelming experience. So you're trying to figure out the most cost-effective plan, and you keep getting all this mail from different plans. You're trying to figure out what's best for you. We have unbiased resources and experts that can look at your prescription drugs and your preferred doctors and make sure you're on a plan that really works for you and is the most affordable. We do all of that and a lot more. So, if you're interested in resources in your community, give us a call and we can help you get where you need to go.
Thank you so much, Katie.
Thank you.
Appreciate your time.
Questions will be available outside too.
Absolutely. Yeah, the Area Agency on Aging was eye-opening to learn about. It's like a genie in the lamp, right? You have an ask and you call and they're like, there's a program for that. And if not, you just gave them something to work towards. So again, just hoping to drive home the idea that these are resources available in our community. Use them. And if they're not currently being offered, it's something that gives us something at the states to work towards and for funding. Next up is the Area Agency on Aging. We've got Monique and Brenda who are here with us. Come on in, come on up. A fun fact, if you have not had your AARP card yet, AARP card yet, or you haven't been invited, the fun thing I have recently learned was it's the 20-somethings that are leaving college and benefit from some of this cost savings benefits that AARP has to offer that are like, I'm not waiting for my grandma to sign up. I'm signing up myself.
Yes.
And so they're one of the fastest growing groups, but don't let them hog all the resources. AARP is also a huge advocate. They work on policy issues and make sure that issues that impact seniors in our community are being considered through the lens of how it's going to affect them. So I'm going to turn it over to the expert.
Well, thank you for having us. My name is Brenda Price. I'm the Associate State Director at AARP Michigan. And this is wonderful that you are hosting this, especially that you have such young people in the room. I actually remember, I'm dating myself, the only state senator that would come to my junior high on a regular basis, and that was State Senator Jack Faxon. Some of you may remember him. But he showed up and inspired us on a regular basis. So it's just wonderful that you're integrating. And that's what we do at AARP. We integrate all ages. What we do, we say we benefits all families. Because if we are supporting legislation to preserve your Social Security, that's preserving their Social Security too. So we say what we do for all. We work in 3 areas. We work in advocacy, we work in education outreach, and we work in volunteerism. If you notice, we had 2 volunteers who were outside at our table. Our volunteers go out and do tabling events. They go out and they lead events. They talk about things that they worked on professionally or they learned in our AARP curriculum how to deliver a presentation or in caregiving. So we focus on those 3 buckets. And one of the buckets that I'd like to talk to you about today, which I brought literature on, which is very important, is our work around fraud. Fraud is a 24/7 global economy. And we like to make sure that our older adults are very much so informed about what is going on. It's 24/7. So this brochure will tell you about robocalls and what the message might be that you will get from a variety of pitches on the tech robocalls. It's the Internal Revenue Service. It's the police. Your grandson needs money. So this is a script in here. So hopefully this will be helpful for you. When you get these calls, you know what to do. Basically, just hang up. But this gives you some information on that.
Anything like spam?
Spam, yes. So, we go out and we do these presentations. We will come to organizations like this, your church, your school, your block club. We also have a lot of fun. And if you go to aarp.org, and you can type in events, and you can find out the events that are going on in Michigan. And they're all over the state, they're virtual, and they're in person. And one event that I'd like to encourage you to think about this summer, we sponsor the River Walk, where we have thousands of seniors that come out and walk the River Walk every Tuesday and Thursday at 7:30 a.m. to 10. And there are programs, there are vendors like you have out there that are offering something. There's exercise, there's music, there's the Wayne State medical team that's taking your blood pressure and giving you medical advice. So it's a lot of fun. So we do fun things. We do movies for grown-ups. How many of you all have been invited to a free movie from AARP? Okay. If you haven't been invited, you nodding? Okay. If you haven't been invited, you need to go to your AARP profile and make sure you click the box that says you will receive emails from us, because that's where you get the invitation to events. Last Friday we did the Whitney Houston movie at the John R. 15. So different movies, the movie industry likes the Michigan market, so they will help send their new movies here, and we will randomly send them out to our members and invite you to come with a guest. So we do a lot of things. So I encourage you to go to aarp.org. The webpage changes daily. Information about health, exercise. When I was looking for this center today, I noticed they have our banner on the website where you can go in and click on the virtual exercise. So you can do exercise at home. You don't have to leave home to enjoy the benefits of AARP. All right? I appreciate you all. Thank you for the time.
Thank you so much, Brenda.
Were there any questions before I sit down?
Questions for
Questions?
AARP?
Okay, make sure you pick up our material at the table. Thank you.
Absolutely. And you hit on a topic that is hot, robocalls, spam. I do appreciate now that your caller ID will give you a heads up. This is likely a spam call. But we all have been, picked it up. Who is it? And it's nice to hear. Sometimes just hang up if they're fishing for information. And the new one is emails. I don't know how many times a week I'm told that I have signed up for a program, I made a purchase, I extended a warranty, and if you didn't do that, reach out to us. That's another example of one of those phishing scams. Delete those every week.
Ever since I bought a new car, I get that one.
Right, they're out there, but protect yourselves. And next up, I have Mariel Phillips from the Ombudsman's Office. Well, come on up, Mariel. And you'll have to explain the title, but Mariel's, did I get it wrong? What was it?
Murray.
Sorry. Murray. I'm learning.
It's okay.
Murray Phillips from the Ombudsman's Office. And I learned about the Ombudsman's Office through COVID. We had a lot of situations where family members were in nursing homes or rehabilitation centers and felt cut off from family and access. And a lot of families reached out to us and says, what do we do? Who's there to advocate? Who's there to check on them? Who's there if we have complaints? And that's how we got to find out about all the amazing things you do in our community. So I'm going to hand it off to you to tell a little bit more.
So I'm Murray Phillips. I'm here with the local Macomb County Ombudsman, Elaine Hearn, who's with us over here. So long-term care facilities include nursing homes, adult foster care homes, and home for the aged. And currently in Michigan, there's about 100,000 folks who call these types of facilities home. And to these folks who live in these facilities, this is their home. The Ombudsman program was created about 50 years ago as part of the Older Americans Act to advocate for folks who live in long-term care settings. Now, ombudsman's a funny sounding word. It's maybe not a word that you've heard before, but what does it mean? It means advocate. So the ombudsmen are boots on the ground going into the facilities, and they are there to be the voice for the residents, to advocate for the residents who call those types of facilities home. All of the services are absolutely confidential, and they start with what the resident wants. So everything is directed by the resident with the resident's consent, and it's confidential and it's free. These are free services to folks who live in the facilities. The program also, on a broader systemic level, aims to do advocacy to improve the lives of folks across Michigan who are living in long-term care. There are roughly 20 ombudsmen in Michigan right now, and they all work underneath and on the direction of the state ombudsman. In the state office, there is also an administrator and 2 attorneys. I'm one of the attorneys in the state office. And then again, as I said, Elaine is the ombudsman who covers Macomb County. So she's going into Macomb County nursing homes. Elaine is an absolute hero, being a voice for residents in those settings. Some of the things that a local ombudsman like Elaine does is she'll meet with the residents and explain their rights to them. There are lots of rights that residents have in a nursing home under federal and state law. And by knowing what their rights are, that's very empowering to the residents. She can also meet with family councils and help resident councils to sort of globally be a voice in the facility for their rights. She can assist residents with filing complaints if that's what they choose to do with the state licensing agencies. And also we're here promoting community events and awareness like the event today. So any questions? No? Thank you.
Thank you,
We
Maria.
have lots of brochures.
Another resource that was little known until we needed it, and now it's good to know that they've anticipated that need and we're here. So one of the things I hear a lot is once I'm retired, I don't have any time left in my schedule. I'm so busy. And United Way has a lot of programming and access to resources. And so I'm going to invite up Amanda Klein. Is Amanda out in the hall? Oh, there you are. Just looking. But United Way is also very plugged in with what our needs are. 211's the information line that'll plug you in. That, again, you have a question, you reach out, they will help connect you with a resource or a program. Take it away.
Hello. Good morning, everyone. Man, first of all, thank you. That spaghetti is amazing. So I'm not going to leave here hungry. I know that. Well, thank you so much for having us today. Again, my name is Amanda Klein. I'm the manager of advocacy and government relations at United Way for Southeastern Michigan. We at our United Way cover Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb. And we are a nonprofit service-based. We work primarily with a lot of state legislatures around, particularly with the work that I do with the advocacy, which is looking at policies that we can help promote to really advance equitable communities. And we know that senior care, there's a lot of things out there that are impacting seniors right now. So we definitely want to take a look at a lot of those policies, see what's going on, and see how we can help our legislators move some of that policy forward. I'm also here to talk about, as mentioned, our 211 helpline. Hopefully you are familiar with 211. If not, you can call 211 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, if you or someone you know is experiencing any kind of need. If you need help with rent or paying a utility, or I'm sure, well, hopefully not, after this last couple of days, even finding warming centers if your electricity is out. We'll help you find transportation to get there. It's a really great resource. It's 100% confidential. And again, our community care advocates, they come to a lot of events like this. And we love being out in the community and talking to people as much as we can. If you happen to know of other service organizations, you can also go online. You can add that right in. We love being a partner. We partner with a lot of the folks that are in this room today, and we really rely on them to really promote those services and get those out. We also do a lot of free tax preparation. So if you know anyone who is looking for or needs to file their taxes, again, you can call our 211 helpline and they will get you set up, get you scheduled, and get you all taken care of. And again, we just thank you so much for inviting us. We hope to be out at more community events like this. It's been nice to get back out in the community and let everyone know about some of the programs and services that United Way has. So, thank you.
Thank you. One of the eye-opening things is so they can take information for calls for assistance, and they give each representative feedback on what's needed in our community. And the number one call for assistance in the 13th House District is for food assistance. So whether it's pensions or paychecks that just don't go as far, especially with inflation, we do have a lot of food pantries. Nobody should be compromising their nutritional intake because there are food sources in our community. And so 211 is one of the ways to be matched up with some of those resources. You guys are doing a great job. See, if you put politicians up front, they just talk on for hours. I love our advocates. They know how to deliver an infomercial, get in, get out, and keep it moving. So I'd like to invite up Lauren Baker from Disability Network. Disability Network was also one of the first tours I took. Yeah, come on up. When I took office 4 years ago. And again, a very enlightening program because one of the services they offer helps to keep people in their home. And I know for many people in the community, aging in place where it's familiar and comfortable is so important. but they have a whole host of resources as well.
Thank you so much, Representative Stone. So nice to be here today with all of you. My name is Lauren Baker. I'm our Public Policy and Outreach Specialist. There are 15 disability networks throughout the state of Michigan. We are federally and state funded. Recently, we've acquired the Blue Water Center for Independent Living. So now we cover, in addition to Oakland and Macomb County, 5 counties in this thumb. So we cover Huron, Lapeer, Sanilac, St. Clair, and Tuscola, in addition to Oakland and Macomb. And I'm still getting used to that area because I'm from Oakland and Macomb, Wayne County, from when I grew up. But Disability Network, many people, when I go out to attend coffee hours with our legislators, they have never heard of Disability Network. So that's why today I'm so happy to get to share with you that you can share with your friends and family if you're not aware. Much like the Area Agency on Aging, one of the core services we provide is information and referral. And our agency assists people, I said at the beginning, all ages and all disabilities. If you have a newly acquired disability, say you're in a car accident and you need some resources for some physical rehabilitation, give us a call and our information referral specialist can do that research to help you along the way during a difficult path in your life if something comes up, and we can be here to assist you. We provide 5 core services, which is advocacy, independent living skills training, information and referral, which I've mentioned, peer support, and transition services. The transition services are both high school age students and residents of nursing homes who are able to transition out of a nursing home. They must have Medicaid to qualify for the Community Transition Service Program, and we have a flyer at our table in the hallway where you can gather some more information, as well as this card that has talks about the core services and how you can reach us. One of the programs that we've developed during the pandemic was a virtual peer support. It's to help combat social isolation. We have a virtual game night once a month. We have a few different peer support programs that my colleague here, Melissa Mahach, can tell you about. She is our peer support specialist.
Hello, everybody. I'm the silent partner. Hi, my name is Melissa Mahach. For those who can't see me as well, I'm 6 foot tall, white woman, hair in a ponytail, brown, glasses, wearing a blue dress today with my fancy name tag because I forgot my fancy one at the office. What I do at the agency really in line with the mission of our agency of breaking down barriers and increasing choice for people with disabilities is that I really help people cultivate their own resiliency. So I do that through not only peer support, right? You're not alone. We all struggle at times, but also through education about abuse, what that looks like, particularly for our folks who have, our community members who have a disability themselves or identify as part of the LGBTQ plus community. So I do a lot of stuff around that at the agency. So that's why I'm here. I have some very cool stickers that say no excuse for abuse, if you would like some. Thank you. Part of my work is funded through a contract through AAA 1B, so they do lots of different stuff, both in-house and also finding agencies that deliver these services out as well. So I totally know what you're talking about in terms of the scams. Please don't. Just don't. Just don't. And if you do, it's okay, right? Because we all do it. Just give me a call. That's all. You can find more information about our agency through our website, which is www. It's on our card as well. dnemichigan.org. That is our website. You could also just pick up the phone and call. That works too. It's 586-268-4160. And we have offices in lots of the areas.
Yeah, so we work out of our Oakland County office in Troy, and then we also have an office in Fort Gratiot.
I will say that phone number one more time. It is 586-268-4160. That is all.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you, everybody.
They'll be around if you think of one between now and a few minutes. Thanks again. Wonderful. And is Rachel Weiland here? Come on up, Rachel. Rachel is with UIA. And
It's up to you.
one of our observations coming out of COVID was a lot of
Just hang
people
out
left the
bottom.
workforce
What can you do?
because of COVID. But that didn't mean that they necessarily were done. Some people are looking for opportunities to work on their terms, set their own hours and pick up some work opportunities. Some people are looking for volunteer opportunities. I have more time on my hands. I want to get away from that social isolation. I want to find ways to connect in my community and that my experience goes forward. And so I want you to know that those opportunities are still out there. Some people feel like at a certain age that they're not as frequent, but we want to make sure that everyone knows that there's still opportunities to engage formally or informally in the workforce. So I'm going to turn it over to Rachel.
Good morning, good afternoon maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay.
You win.
All right, good afternoon then. I'm Rachel Weinland from Michigan Unemployment Insurance Agency, and I'm thankful for being here today and appreciate the opportunity to be here today, so thank you. I'm just going to talk a little bit about some of the services that we have. One of the things that we know is that individuals are staying in the workforce longer and longer. So we know that sometimes individuals may be still eligible for unemployment even into the later years. So just because you're over a certain age, or maybe just because you're collecting Social Security, does not necessarily mean that you would not still be eligible for unemployment if you lost your job due to no fault of your own. So I'm just going to run through a few points regarding unemployment. As was mentioned, obviously the pandemic has been a big historical event that generated a lot of claims for the agency. All of those programs were completed as of September 4th of 2021. So we are currently operating on regular unemployment and do not have those pandemic programs or COVID-related reasons for unemployment any longer. We were allowed to operate under those programs from federal funding that has ceased since then. So just to kind of level set there that we are operating on regular unemployment at this point in time. So a few points that I wanted to mention. Earlier I spoke about losing job due to no fault of your own. If you are a part-time worker, you still may be eligible for unemployment if you lose your job. There's not a certain hour that I can tell you. It's a wage base, and there are a few different calculations that we can calculate that. So what I would say, my advice to you, is if you feel like you may be eligible for unemployment, you can go ahead and apply. And then obviously they'll review your wage records and determine if you're eligible or not, and at how much. So there is a maximum of $362 per week benefit and a minimum of $160 a week benefit. To be able to collect unemployment, you must be able and available to work full-time. So even if you came from part-time unemployment and you were able to receive unemployment, you still have to be able and available to work full-time. So it's an important point. If you have some type of physical issue that prevents you from being able to work, you may not be eligible for unemployment. Again, I'm not here to say whether you would be eligible or not eligible. These are just some common points that sometimes leave opportunities for questions. And so just kind of wanted to explain that that is a requirement of unemployment, that you be able and available to work full-time. Additional wages such as pension or retirement can impact unemployment. It's what we refer to as a fancy word called remuneration. And so those are factored into your benefit and if you're eligible to receive. If that amount is over a certain amount compared to your benefit, you may not be eligible. Again, not to discourage anyone from applying for unemployment, but just to kind of explain some common terms or common issues that we come across. You're able to file a claim online or by phone. Our customer service line is 866-500-0017. We have made some good progress as far as our customer service line, and we are able and available to answer your calls. There are some times depending on peak times, a little bit of wait time, but we've worked really hard to reduce those. I'll give that number again. It's 866-500-0017. And that line is available Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. For some of my more tech-savvy individuals who are here, we do have readily available phone, virtual, and in-person appointments. So phone and virtual appointments are available almost every single day. So if you were to go online and look, you could probably schedule a phone appointment or a virtual appointment for today. In person, our goal is within the same week. Sometimes in the Detroit area, that is a little bit of a struggle. And if you can't get an appointment for this week, check in every day, kind of like with the Secretary of State, because appointments do become available. So as those are opened up, we are able to offer those. So those are available on our website at michigan.gov/UIA. You can go on there, there's a spot that says schedule an appointment, and you can go in and put your information, and then that way you can schedule an appointment based on your convenience and when you know you're available and at a specific time. So then you don't have to worry about wait times or some of those other inconveniences that might be present. So you can file a claim by phone or at that michigan.gov/UIA. There's also a process to file a claim there as well. Again, questions, you can schedule an appointment or you can contact our customer service. If you are eligible for unemployment, there is a requirement to register for work. This is a two-step process. The first step of that process is to visit a Michigan Works facility. You can do this online or you can do it in person. So there are two options to doing that. So just find your local Michigan Works and register for employment. And then the second step of that process is to complete a Pure Michigan Talent Profile online. And if you need assistance with that, they're able to help you with that at Michigan Works. So my recommendation for that process is schedule an appointment with your local Michigan Works, do your registration, and then get help while you're there completing that profile. You also have to search for work while you're unemployed and receiving benefits, and you have to complete biweekly certifications. You can complete biweekly certifications on what's called your MyWAM, which is online, or you can certify by phone. So that is an option for individuals who are not comfortable with using online services. You can still do that certification through the phone. One of the things that I always encourage people is make sure that you read and understand all correspondences that you receive from unemployment. If you apply for unemployment, the very first letter that we will receive is referred to as the monetary determination. This will tell you if you're eligible for unemployment and how much you will receive and for how long. This does not mean that you will continue to be eligible for unemployment indefinitely. There could be other issues that could arise upon your claim, and we will send you additional letters to let you know as those issues arise. But sometimes people read that monetary determination and say, I'm eligible, and then they get confused when there's additional letters that come in with kind of conflicting information. So what I always encourage people is make sure you understand each and every correspondence that you receive from the agency, and if you have questions, contact the agency because they will make sure that you understand your rights. If issues do come up, you do have the right to protest or to appeal. There is certain time frames that it is best to do that within. Typically it's 30 days. A last point I wanted to make is that we are really interested in hearing from all of you and any barriers that you face with regards to unemployment or anything that would make the process easier. Customer service is something that the agency is actively working on as reform. And we also have received an equity grant from the U.S. Department of Labor, which we have opportunity to work with populations of individuals in order to eliminate barriers that are present. So I really would encourage you to connect with me or to contact the agency. If there's barriers that you're facing that you feel like we could help with, we want to hear about that. So make sure and let us know. Thank you again for having me.
Thank you. Question.
Yeah, is there a lifetime cap on how much unemployment someone can collect or how many weeks?
There's not a lifetime cap, but there is a yearly cap. So it's a maximum of 20 weeks in a benefit year. And benefit year is from the day that you file your claim, a year from that point. So it's not based on calendar year or in 2023 or, a specific year or month time frame, but rather when you apply 1 year forward. Minimum is 16 weeks, maximum is 20 weeks.
I recognize the heavy discussion today about robocalls and other concerns with phone calls coming in. So with correspondence with the UIA, is it strictly written correspondence, or will the company or the organization actually call some people who are using those services?
So we do have a process through legislative offices where they can enter constituents who have concerns in regards to unemployment.
Yeah.
And in those instances, we do have agents who are reaching out and contacting individuals, to kind of provide them with a status update on their claim and if there's any action steps that they can take. So there are some instances in which the agency is reaching out, but it's in those instances where a constituent has reached out for assistance.
Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Oh, yes.
Okay, so right now the maximum's 20 weeks. At one time, before Snyder changed, it was 26. And I know that they go by the amount of money based on the cost of living. Like if you were in New York, you get a lot more. Anyways, is there any discussions to extend that back to 26 or?
So that's not a Rachel question. That is a state representative, Lori Stone question. And yes, because COVID shined a light on where we underfunded departments, lack of personnel, need for updates to technology, let alone changes in policy. So we have seen that some of those benefits that were at higher levels, in order to balance budgets instead of keeping those benefits, some leaders chose to pull those benefits back. And so there has been, for 2 terms now, packages of bills addressing some of those issues on UIA. And I'm excited with the new leadership that some of those will be moving along. I had a bill on clear and plain language because through COVID, we worked really hard. We partnered with our UIA. My staff became customer service for UIA to serve you, to make sure that our local voices got the resources they needed. And so shine a light on where, as advocates, as state representatives, we can improve those conditions. So that's my political way of saying yes.
So you're working on to get it back to 26, or is that the most you can get in any state in the U.S., or do you know?
There actually is a bill right now for increase it to 26 weeks. So, and again, the agency is interested in reform. Exactly what that looks like specifically. Representative Stone mentioned plain, clear language, and that's an effort that we've taken on our own. And we are engaged with an entity referred to as Sevilla, who is assisting us with making our communications, plain language so that individuals can read and understand them, because it has been identified as something that is a barrier that some face. So, not to chip in, I apologize.
Yeah.
But that is something that has been proposed, and
Well, what do you think that they're going to decide?
It's a process, right? So it's got to get it, once it's introduced, it's got to get a committee hearing. And that's where you as residents get to voice most directly to your legislators and to leadership across the state what your expectation is. So thank you so much, Rachel. Rachel, stick around. We have 2 more speakers and we'll let you go play. I will also stay after, ask questions or answer questions, have more discussions. But I would like to invite up George Eichhorn from Interfaith Volunteer Caregiver. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped right over David. 3 more. I apologize. Okay, thank you. And then Carl. So 3, my mistake. I should have been taking better notes.
So good afternoon. My name is George Eichhorn. I'm the business manager at Interfaith Volunteer Caregivers. We're located on Kelly Road in Roseville. We've been around for 30 years now. We're a nonprofit organization, and our executive director, Karen Dombrowski-Curl, has been our executive director all these years and has done a great job. Our theme is Neighbors Helping Neighbors. So we utilize a bank of about 200 volunteers throughout Macomb, Oakland, and part of St. Clair County. And what we do is we provide services that could include transportation, to your doctor's appointment or dentist appointment, taking you grocery shopping if you need assistance to go to the store, Meijer's, Kroger's, wherever. We also have light housekeeping. We have volunteers that'll come into your house and do some dusting and some cleaning for you. Maybe rearrange some shelving or something like that. We have outdoor chores that we do, our volunteers. A lot of phone calls we get are for spring cleanup or fall cleanup or help me with my gutters. So we can't do regular snow removal. We're not equipped to do that. And we can't do regular mowing of your lawn every single week. But if there's a special time of year, like I said, the fall or the spring, or the gutters are a little jammed, we'll take a look at that and help you out. We pride ourselves on doing our best for our clients. We had a client the other day who had a very important eye appointment in Ann Arbor. And even though we're not servicing Ann Arbor, we found a volunteer driver, dedicated young man that took that client all the way to Ann Arbor to the Veterans Hospital to get a very important eye appointment. Wow. So that's just one example of us reaching out and trying to match. What our theme is trying to match you as a volunteer. If you want to volunteer, what are some of your skill sets? What would you be more comfortable with? Sometimes it's just making a friendly phone call, and I know other organizations have mentioned that today. Making a well-being kind of call. Other people are interested in helping us with some of our office work. You could come in and help us address envelopes or to get a fundraising brochure together, anything like that. Some people want to come into our office. That's also a volunteer opportunity. But what we mostly need is, like I said, people that'll help out in the community as drivers and as well-being phone calls. So if you know of anybody that could benefit from our organization, I have a table out there and I have this nice handy green brochure that tells you all about interfaith volunteer caregivers. By the name, we are non-denominational. We started out 30 years ago as more of a faith-based organization. There were several pastors in Macomb County who helped care and found the organization, hence the name Interfaith. We felt that was an important part of our mission. It's not like we're a religious organization, but what we're trying to do is tell everybody that we cover all faiths, or even if you have no faith or no belief in any faith, we are there to help anybody. So it's a very important mission that we have here. We also had some other examples I wanted to give you. People ask us all the time about, well, how often do I have to volunteer? Or how often can I get a ride? Well, we arrange our rides like about 7 to 14 days ahead of time. You have to give our transportation coordinator time to get somebody to match you and where you're going and that sort of thing. So it's like a little chess game sometimes, you know, and this person then has to call that person and that sort of thing. But we are very, very faithful about getting rides for people in most cases. Sometimes it's an emergency and, you know, they're not less than 7 days, but we'll try our best to fill those requests as well. You know, one person had a leaky faucet too. We have a plumber, a retiree, George, his name is George also, and we will schedule him as he's available to help with a leaky faucet or something similar to that, a plumbing need. We don't get into like changing out a whole toilet or something like that. That's something that we can't do, but George is there to help with a particular need for plumbing as well. There's no minimum time that's required. As I mentioned, volunteers, you just tell us what time you're available. It could be 1 hour a week. It could be 15 hours a week. It doesn't matter. So we have like a twofold mission, volunteering and then also fulfilling what our clients need here in the Tri-County area. We are open from Monday through Thursday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m., but we have a 24-hour answering machine, so you can call anytime after that. Our office is located, as I mentioned, on Kelly Road. I call it Doctor's Row, where all those doctors used to, and still are, on Kelly between Frazo and 10 Mile Road. And we've had really good cooperation from the community. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that we have grants that we received from our friends at Area Agency on Aging 1B. We're thankful for that. We're thankful for the churches. We're thankful for the cities of Warren, Centerline, Roseville that have helped us out. So all of this is all what we need to achieve our mission, which is, again, neighbors helping neighbors. So if anybody has any questions, thank you again, Representative. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Whether you need the help or whether you're looking for an opportunity to help and give back, what a great opportunity. Hold on. Before I invite up David from My Care, I'm going to do a selfie. Smile. Because it's not happening if you don't tell people you're here. Let me have David Wilson come up from My Care. My Care there's 2 locations. There's one right here in Centerline at 10 Mile in Sherwood, and there's another location in Mount Clemens. Come on, and tell me if there's more branches or other locations since. But My Care is an amazing organization. It's a federally qualified health center, but they also have dental on site. They have mental health access. And what don't you do? Substance use recovery programs, and they're amazing community partners. They're always out at community events with resources. And so tell us a little bit more.
Well, thank you, Representative Stone. Thanks for hosting this event. It's terrific to see all these resources here. And it sounds like you got everything covered. So for My Care, so it's incredible. And I know you've been a strong supporter of our health centers, and so we appreciate that. A little bit about myself. My name's Dave Wilson. I'm the Community Engagement Manager with My Care Health Center. I just want to say I've worked in the senior industry for a little over 20 years in varying capacities, and I've worked with most of the organizations that are here today, and there's really some terrific resources. So this is just a great event to everybody here in a close-knit local environment. But to talk about My Care Health Center, yes, we have 3 locations actually. One is over here on 10 Mile between Van Dyke and Mound. The other is in Mount Clemens, right downtown behind Buffalo Wild Wings. And we have a third that's in a shared space with the community mental health up in Clinton Township. And as Representative Stone said, we have really all-inclusive services under one site. So we have dental, we have podiatry, OBGYN, immunizations, general health, lab work. You can get it all done in one visit, really. And we take most insurances. And one of the things that does set us apart is we are a 501c3 nonprofit. We are a federally qualified health center. And so that means we receive federal funds to help subsidize care for those who are uninsured and underinsured. So if you have friends or family that are struggling and they need services, they don't have health insurance, they're waiting for paperwork to come back, whatever, have them give us a call. We don't have restrictions by geography. And if a person needs services, we're not going to turn them away. Our mission is really to provide care for all people. So if somebody needs income-based payment plans, we'll work with them. Services might be as little as $0 in some situations. The important thing is we want to make sure we can serve all of the community members and give them the care they need and really help improve the health and wellness for Macomb County and beyond. One of the other things that we're doing that I want to mention real quick is we are hosting monthly food distribution events. Centerline is monthly. I think the next one is in 2 weeks, and Mount Clemens we have one every other month. If you are on Facebook, you can follow our page. We send out information when those are announced, and you can also visit our website, mycarehealthcenter.org. We have a table out here. You stop by and see me, grab some brochures, mycarehealthcenter.org. And we also provide free COVID tests for the community. In fact, while I was here, I got a message from a senior high-rise that's having a major outbreak, not near here, further up in the county, and they're asking, for a huge supply of COVID tests, so I'll be taking those up there. So that's just some of the many things that we try to do. Thank you.
So many things. Any questions on My Care?
Do you have a phone number?
I do not remember it offhand because we have 4 of them, so I'm sorry.
Grab a brochure before
yeah, I'll make sure we get it.
It's 756-7777.
Or ask
There you go. Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
756-7777.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Just called it the other day.
Yes, and let me tell you, during COVID, My Care stepped up big time for our community, They did drive-through testing. As I was going between community events in Lansing, I wanted to make sure that I wasn't bringing something either way, and we could go. And they were also one of the suppliers for free at-home COVID tests through the federal benefits. So, and so I was kept my closet stocked with at-home COVID tests so that, yeah. So when it came to an event or before an event, that I was checking to make sure that I wasn't being that conduit, bringing things back and forth, especially if people are at a higher risk or vulnerable level. Last but not least, I'd like to invite up Judge Carl Marlinga, who I think since retiring is living his best life, whether it is running for Congress or continuing to serve the community in your new capacity, working with the Attorney General's office.
Right.
On behalf of seniors. So I'm going to let you tell them a little bit about what you do.
Thank you. The Attorney General, Dana Nessel, asked me last December if, having been a probate court judge, if I would be willing to chair a group called the Elder Abuse Task Force, which is a group that's statewide. There are 55 organizations that meet on a regular basis. There are 105 people that I deal with in subcommittees every month at several times. But to get to the point of why this is important, I think you might remember that a couple of years ago there was the story in Macomb County that a couple, Bob and Barb Mitchell, had a guardian appointed for them. And in the course of about a year and a year and a half, about $300,000 was diverted from their assets to pay for care that they didn't need, to pay for a fence that was built around their property to keep their relatives out, and to isolate them from their children. It was the most horrid example of some things that happen from time to time throughout the state in our probate courts with the appointments of guardians and conservators. Now, the Attorney General is in charge of a lot of things, so I could talk here for hours, but I'm a politician, so I will understand Lori's comment that the advocates know how to keep it short. So I won't talk about everything that the Attorney General's office does. But I will say that after this meeting, I have a Zoom meeting in Washtenaw County where there is another example of a conservator taking hundreds of thousands of dollars out of a person's estate. So there's a law enforcement aspect to it. But what I wanted to let you know is some good news for the future. Lori Stone and other representatives and senators have been extremely helpful in this effort to make sure that we liberate people from the threat of having their assets and their freedom taken away from them simply because they get advanced in age and suddenly now have people trying to take care of them in ways that they don't want. And so we're trying to find ways to avoid the trip to probate court for guardianships and conservatorships as much as possible, to leave your life and your assets in your own hands. And I'll just kind of highlight a number of bills that are coming down the road. Lori Stone will probably be an advocate, if not the sponsor, on some or maybe all of them. But we are going to reform the power of attorney form in Michigan so that everybody will have an easy power of attorney form to fill out so that you don't have to see a lawyer to get a trust. You can name the people that you want, usually sons, daughters, relatives, friends, who you want to take care of your assets if you are temporarily unable to take care of them. And the power of attorney form will likewise allow you to get it right back when you do want to take care of yourself. Those things exist right now, but if you go to a bank, if you go anywhere, the bank will want to have you write the power of attorney for that bank on their form. If you go talk to a nursing home, the nursing home will say, we wanted to do it on our form. We need a standard form that is universally recognized so that if you don't have money to pay $1,500 or $3,000 or $5,000 to a lawyer to create a fancy trust to do these things, you will have a form to take care of that in a way that is simple, that makes sense, and is accepted everywhere. Secondly, if you are ill and you have already allowed for somebody to be your medical power of attorney, that person can stand in for you if you are unconscious and can't consent to some procedure in the hospital. However, if you don't have the form filled out in advance, sometimes doctors will accept a spouse's okay, but a lot of times hospitals and doctors will require that you go into probate court and you get a guardian appointed for you because you are unconscious. Once the guardian is appointed, it sticks with you for months, if not years. And so we want to create a surrogate decision maker, namely, by statute, name the people who can stand in and speak for you if you are unable to speak. And again, this will avoid a trip to probate court to have a guardian appointed for that single purpose, which you will not need thereafter. Next, probate judges right now should be following the law as written, which says that a guardian or conservator is the last thing that you should do, that you should go through all of the other alternatives before you appoint somebody who is a stranger or even a relative to take care of yourself. The probate court, though, the probate code needs a little bit of a tweak, but a big, effective tweak in making it clear that that surrogate decision makers or supportive decision makers, as we're going to call it in the statute, are a step that you got to go through, so that before the judge can appoint somebody to be a guardian, the judge has to make a record that he or she has looked at all of the other alternatives. And the great thing about being here today, and I can't wait to tell the Attorney General that we have so many available assets, is all of these organizations that I've talked to you would be on the list to be the supported decision makers. So that somebody might not need a guardian, somebody just might need somebody to come in every week or every couple of weeks to make sure that the bills are paid, that there's food in the fridge, that the gas is still turned on, and you don't need a formal guardian if you have a supportive decision maker in place. And we want to bake that into the law as well as an alternative. And lastly, for those cases in which guardianships or conservatorships are required, we are going to introduce an amendment to make it clear that the stay-at-home alternative is the first alternative, that a guardian or conservator or a judge cannot ignore that prime directive that the person gets to stay at home unless it becomes like absolutely impossible to support a person at home because there are monetary considerations as well. You might not be able to. But we want to make sure that a judge has to look at every single possible alternative before he or she allows a guardian to move you out of where you are in place. The Attorney General Nessel is really committed to this. I was thrilled when she asked me to be a part of this. And I'm thrilled that Representative Lori Stone and others in Lansing see this as importantly as the Attorney General does. We're going to make some differences here. By the way, last thing, if you are, and this is another hour talk I could go into. If you are a victim of a scam, the Attorney General takes these things seriously. We have communications with all 83 county prosecutors to take these things seriously. It may be in the past that you thought, well, if I complain, who's going to do anything about it? No, those days are over. The bad guys are going to get nailed. We're going to put them away. We're going to stop them from taking your money, and where we can, we're going to get your money and get it back. So don't ever be embarrassed or ashamed to report a scam. It happens to all of us. And the bad guys are out there like all 24/7 thinking up different scams. And so don't ever be embarrassed. If you think that you've been a victim, report it, because that's the only way that we're going to stop it.
Dana Nessel's Attorney General's office at the state?
Yes.
The Attorney General's office will do it, but also I met with the St. Clair Shores Police and Prosecutor Lucido 2 weeks ago, and they will take our referrals if it's too much for us. But yes, you just call your local police department. They'll get it to the Attorney General or the local prosecutor.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right. Thank you.
So
Thanks,
much
Laura.
for
Thank you.
Carl.
Thanks. Okay. Great.
Is Nancy Latham out there? Is Nancy in the hallway?
Nancy, are you out here?
From MSU Extension?
Nancy is not here.
Okay, I'm still gonna shout out. She's been, if you stick her head in, yeah. MSU, how many of you have visited Thompson Center before today? Okay, hands down, how many of you, this is the first visit to the Thompson Center? Welcome. This is a great resource. This is a Macomb County extension for the Action Center. You don't have to go to Mount Clemens for all of those resources. Most of them are here. MDHHS services are here, but also MSU Extension. And we're very glad that they're hosting us. Nancy works on financial services. So if you find your budgets aren't going as far as they used to and you would like to sit down with her to talk budgets, we also have people who do gardening locally. We have a local community garden. We have a 4-H program. We have nutrition. And so our MSU Extension has been amazing partners. Many of our resources, we'll take care of that later. Many of our resources join us to participate on our summer picnics in the park. We just have so much going on in Macomb County that sometimes it's easy to feel overwhelmed by, when something goes wrong. But I want everyone to leave here knowing and to be that mouthpiece for everything that is going right in the resources that we do have. Because it won't be long before you come across someone standing in the grocery line or sitting on the front porch who needs this help. You got the first hand, and if you're not sure, direct them back to me. Because as your customer service in Lansing and in district, that's what I'm here for. We have amazing resources, and nobody should feel like they're alone. Just really quick shout out. I have my monthly community conversation March 18th at 11 a.m. I moved through the district, and so this one is going to be at Detroit Franklin Library. It's about where Shaner meets Gratiot. It's going to be fun. It's my first one in the Detroit part of the district when they broke the county lines. It is an opportunity to build bridges, see what we're doing in Macomb County, what they're doing in Wayne County, and there are things that we can build off of each other. So I encourage you to come out. They're very excited. It's a beautiful library tucked away there. Sorry, I'm not even talking and I got a tickle. I have brochures on the counter. These are printed with taxpayer dollars with excellent resources. So do we have any veterans in the room today? Thank you for your service. Absolutely. One thing that we know is many of our veterans aren't utilizing all their benefits. We need to do a better job of reaching out and making sure you're aware of what you are entitled to for your service, and we are very appreciative. So whether we have services for seniors, we have veterans benefits and services. There's about 25 of them. I picked different ones for events that I go through. Take them home with you. If you know someone who could use them, take one home for them. Take one to have, let's see, from the Attorney General's office, there's some little postcard size information about the hotlines and scams and anything you need to reach out to the Attorney General's office. Take one home with you. If you would like to be included in our e-news, we're going to include some of the tips and tricks that we learned from all of our presenters. Oh, and once a month I send out an email, not every day, not every week. It won't be overwhelmed, but we just give you dates of events, activities, and then some helpful tips about what programs are happening in the state that you don't want to miss out on. Brochures, e-news, community conversation. This has been recorded, and we will provide that through our state website and through social media. More than anything, thank you. Thank you for your time, for coming out. I appreciate it.